So, I've been playing a lot of Dark Souls lately, and I played a lot of Elder Scrolls Online when it came out for a while, and you can see the videos on my opinions on Elder Scrolls Online. Uh, Basically, I didn't really find Elder Scrolls Online to be a fantastic game. It wasn't terrible, it just wasn't fantastic. You can watch the reviews if you want to get plenty of details on my opinion on that. And I also did a video on Dark Souls. Now, I've been playing a lot of Dark Souls right now, and I've been thinking, is Dark Souls a better MMORPG than really a lot of the modern ones, including Elder Scrolls Online? Well, we got a few points here. Combat in Dark Souls is really good. It's very well thought out. Every weapon you use has an impact on the enemy. They swing differently, and the combat in Dark Souls 2 is just really well done. It's challenging depending on your play style. You can do all kinds of different play styles, and you can do all sorts of different things. Compared to modern MMOs like Elder Scrolls, where you just shoot and you attack and you just kind of swing a few times and kill an enemy in 3 hits. That's pretty much the gist of all MMOs now. Post, like, I don't know, the past like 10 years, like the combat in all MMOs have been just craptastic. Well, there's been a few indie ones that have been okay, but they kind of went nowhere and disappeared. But the combat in those games are just terrible. Another thing that makes combat in this game a lot more interesting is the fact that your stuff wears down and breaks in combat. I mean, some MMOs have breaking items, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, you can repair anything that you break in this game. You just have to go back to a blacksmith and get it repaired. But if you're using a really old weapon that, or like if you are depending all your playstyle on one weapon the entire time, it'll break down. It kind of encourages you to use a couple different types of weapons to give you 2 different play styles. As you can see, I went from a longsword to my dagger here, which doesn't do much damage, but it's really good at backstabbing and killing them if you can get around behind them. Using a dagger versus a longsword is a very different play style. It's more agile. You need to keep away from the enemy. You need to be close to them to do any damage, and you don't do much damage unless you actually like parry, counterattack, or backstab. Or you can just tick away at their health like this, and it's day and night, the equipment that you're using, and when it breaks and you're in the middle of like an intense fight, or it's getting close to that, and you have to switch to another weapon, it just adds to the more intensity of the game and making it a lot more interesting. In compared to like a weapon breaking on an MMO, it's not really a big deal. Maybe you lose the item for good, and it's just a way to force you to spend more money, like either on their cash shop or just get another weapon that's exactly the same or whatever. It's kind of dumb. Another cool thing about combat in this game are the bosses. All the bosses are hard. They're unique and they're challenging. They all have their own different fighting styles. Like this one here, I'm not even going to mess with. Not with my dagger, not with my current strength. That guy would cleave me in half in one hit. So I'm just going to get the hell out of here. And then you have enemies that throw projectiles out of nowhere, like this guy here. He's throwing bombs at you, and you don't have that kind of stuff in MMOs. You might have an attempt to sort of make something hidden, but not really. Even MMOs nowadays, including Elder Scrolls Online, they don't really put any thought into their dungeons. They don't put any thought into their world. It's very unintuitive, or really, it's just filler to get you to the end game, which is kind of all MMOs are now. Just some end game crap that is just grinding one dungeon or one area over and over and over, and who wants to do that? You play this game and you have very interesting dungeons that have secrets all over the place, and tons of items and tons of things to equip. And like this here's a secret that I'm trying to get him to open. If I can get him to hit the bomb, there we go. Blew me up, but it'll blow a hole in that wall, and that just created a shortcut back to the bonfire where I can heal up, and I don't have to go all the way back through there again. So another thing that makes this game better than many MMOs, modern MMOs, is the multiplayer aspect. A lot of modern MMOs are just single player games with a ton of people around you that don't do anything but steal your experience and steal your items. Even groups in like Elder Scrolls Online are pointless. They're there to just, like, I don't know, leech off of. I have trouble trying to understand why even grouping matters in that game, or in any MMO really. A lot of MMOs just kind of have no reason to. In this game, when you summon an ally, you can have a group of 3 people at a time. When you summon an ally, it really makes an impact. Like, here's another one here I'm going to summon. And I'm going to have 2 guys here that are going to help me fight through the stage and fight a really hard boss later. That if I didn't have allies, it would be a lot more challenging and maybe require a ton more effort to kill the boss and probably lots of deaths. The multiplayer aspect in this game is very encouraged. You can put your own signs down, and other people can summon you to help them in their dungeons, and you're very encouraged to, and you get a lot of benefit from helping and being helped in multiplayer. There's no... for instance, if you help another player in co-op, and they achieve whatever goal that is that they're trying to do, like kill a boss or even just get to a new area, you will regain some of your permanently lost health. When you die, you lose your health permanently in this game. And when you help people, you get your health back. It returns the max, and you also refill all your spell casts because you have limited spell casts. It's very encouraged to co-op in this game. It's also encouraged to PvP in this game, and I'll go into that in a little bit. Right now, I'm just going to talk about co-op. So, there's a boss just ahead here that can pretty much one-hit kill me. I'm fairly good at dodging his attacks and sort of know his ability, or know what he's going to do to me. But with having other people, you can either have them or yourself be a distraction while someone's attacking them from a distance or attacking them from behind or below or some stuff like that. And it's just very helpful to have allies. For instance, I'm almost to the boss now. It's just a short path down this little hallway. Little guy on the left here. This area that I'm going through right now is the first area in the game. It looks pretty challenging, and it's the very first area. This is the very first boss that you encounter. And alone, he's really, really challenging because he can stomp on you, he can punch you and kill you in one hit. Later, he'll rip off his arm and like swing that at you. And it's very intimidating. The game challenges you on intimidation factor the first time, especially when you fight a new boss. You don't know what they're gonna do, and just having the fear factor of fighting an immense monster that can kill you one hit can get you killed. But once you get used to their attacks and once you understand their play style or what they're gonna do, it's not. You're a lot calmer and you actually fight a lot better. It's actually kind of like that in real fighting, in real combat. Once you're not stressed out about the situation, you can analyze the situation and react accordingly. In regards to MMOs like Elder Scrolls, bosses are just, they have little red circles on the ground that you gotta dodge, or you just gotta hope you can withstand more damage than they can deal. It's very unintuitive, and it's just crap. Basically, the boss battles in MMOs are crap. Even the really well scripted ones are very generic. Like, you go and you hit a switch and you have to worry about that. You don't have to worry about like this guy's stomp here. If you're too close, he'll stomp and kill you. You don't have to worry about things like swipes or anything like that. And yeah, so when you beat bosses in this game, it unlocks really huge chunks of areas that you can go to, and this game is very open. It's a lot more open than some MMOs. MMOs have big open worlds, but there's nothing to find. Anyway, so this is the leveling system in Dark Souls. How you can level up each of your individual stats, which by raising your stats, it increases multiple other stats, which all have a very large impact on the way you play, the way your game is, and the build that you're going to create. And these are all the different attributes that you can upgrade that do different things. And after a certain amount of levels, it's you really tailor your class to however you want to be. You can create a lot of different styles of gameplay in this, a lot of different builds based off of your attributes and equipment available and spells. And then the max level is way higher than any MMO, which is good because the max level is somewhere around level 900 in this game, which is almost unattainable, but it's there, and you're not stuck at a level cap, which really ruins the fact that really ruins a lot of MMOs for me, and especially Elder Scrolls where you can only level to 50. I mean, and then you have veterans that go up to 10, but you get that in no time at all, and then it's just like, what am I going to do now? Am I going to grind? Yay, fun. This game gives you excitement the entire way through. It has a lot of things like your soul level and your sin level. If you PK players, your sin will go up, and then other people can attack you more often. People who are trying to get rid of the bad people, which you will become. And then you have the crafting system here, which is also better than a lot of MMOs. In games like Elder Scrolls Online, you have your crafting system that you can create a bunch of items that nobody wants or needs, or games like this where you can upgrade so many different pieces of equipment. Everything looks different, everything acts different, different things do different things, and almost no piece of equipment is irrelevant at any point in the game. There's some stuff that are lower tier and there's some stuff that are higher tier, but a lot of different things as you upgrade them have a lot of different beneficial values, like increase your spell power or increase your agility or make enemies drop more experience or make it harder for you to see, like things like that. And then there's your spell system, which in this game you have a ton of different spells, and all the spells do different things. You have your pyromancy, which is a completely different spell school, and then you have your healing class, and then you have your hex class, which is like a mix of offense and healing, and then you have straight magic, which is all those blue spells. And the spells all act differently, and you have to time those right. And then when you're in PvP, I'm gonna get to PvP pretty soon here, but when you're in PvE, when you're fighting enemies and stuff, they have spells, and they all do different things and react differently to different actions, and it's all just, it's craziness. So I'm gonna go to an area where it's pretty heavily PvP right now. Here I should get attacked. I have a ring here that increases my chance of being attacked. So what people can do is they can invade your world while you're questing and kill you. Basically, it's one of the covenants. This game has a lot of covenants. Covenants are like factions or guilds, where there's PvP ones where you can either help your allies or help people who are getting attacked by other players, or you can protect certain areas of the game from players. It will summon you into like a bell tower that you need to protect from players who are trying to get through and kill the boss of the area, and that's pretty fun. Or you can defend players who get invaded by other players, or you can even just help people, like you saw a little bit earlier, where you can go to other players where you get benefits for doing that in the faction, which give you cool spells or cool equipment or cool items. Or just prestige. There's a faction that encourages invading other players, which is why you get invaded. And all this PvP is interesting. It's fun because it adds another aspect of fear, or an aspect of like challenge in the game, where MMOs that have PvP just are pointless. I mean, you games like Elder Scrolls Online, you have PvP that you're just gaining points for like faction credits for some crappy armor that all it does is raise your stats like 2 points and maybe make you look a little differently, but all the equipment in that game looks the same. So this is some PvP. Right now I'm disguising myself because I'm in a covenant. I'm in a faction that gets help from other players while when I get invaded. So right now I'm hiding. I have a spell that makes me look like a lamp, so this guy's looking for me. But I'm hiding to pass some time. So one of my allied people who protect people in my faction, they'll summon as a blue spirit and they'll help me out. And yeah, so I'm gonna do this. And if sometimes it takes a long time because they're either, I don't know. There's different requirements to be summoned into other worlds. You're not always summoned to help people, and you're not always um, gonna get help either. So this guy, I'm still just gonna kind of pass some time. But if he doesn't, if I don't get any help soon, I'm gonna fight him because I want to fight him. PvP is pretty fun, and this guy looks kind of like a similar, not a similar build, but he has a kind of a playstyle like mine where he looks like he's a fire mage and he's using a weapon. Right now, I'm a fire mage, slight fire mage, and a offensive mage here with a good sword. So I'm gonna buff myself, I think, and I'm gonna take this guy out, or attempt it at least. If, yeah, I think I'm gonna do it. I don't know if I'm gonna get any assistance here. So this spell I have equipped here is gonna increase my spell power but lower my health, which is another thing. Do you want to lower your max health for a chance to do more damage or not? And I do. So I'm gonna go back into this form because they can't target you, auto target you when you're in this form. So I'm gonna get close, target him, and then I'll cast my spell. But he dodged out of the way. So spells are really challenging in PvP in this game because it's fairly easy to dodge, roll out of the way of spells. So you have to know your timing. You have to get them at the right time, which is why I'm using my sword right now to kind of distract him. If I can get him to roll and then cast... Oh, here we go. Here's a blue ally. So that's him right there. I guess he got scared and ran. So I'm going to kind of distract him until this guy gets over here. He's trying to backstab me, but it's not going to happen. So yeah, he rolled out of the way and I got my cast off and killed him. So that's PvP in essence. I mean, if you're in the allied guild, you can either wait until someone comes